from that something different is when I created what I have created now. I wouldn't say entrepreneur, but I would say venture capitalist. I get bored in one space for the longest time. So it always just feels like I was born to build nations and born to build businesses. The problem we have in Africa, and mostly people misunderstand logistics. When you talk about logistics in general, they think you're talking about transportation. If we could have most Zambians going to farming, you'd be surprised that logistics thing would grow. There's a lot of money in food trade. It's not the white collar that gives you money all the time. No, the food trade is key. Everybody eats. For things to happen, you need logistics, in short.
Maybin, welcome to Logistics Now.
Thank you, Tawanda. It's nice to be on your show, and looking forward to discussing valuable things with you on logistics.
Absolutely. I know that our listeners and our audience will thoroughly enjoy this. This is actually the inaugural episode. And
nice.
yeah. And I don't think I can come up with a better guest to have on the first episode than you. I think you've been a name in the space, not just logistics, insurance,
Yes.
Commodities, etc. So very glad to have you on the show.
And I'm glad to be on the show.
Excellent. Now, business is about solving problems. When you look back into your career, and you've had a very illustrious career, what was the first problem you solved that eventually led to everything that we're seeing today?
Interesting question, but also very, 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 very short answer. I started the insurance business quite a long time ago. As you know, I was an agent before, and then went into starting businesses. We started insurance companies, from insurance companies, broker. I got a bit bored. I get bored easily. And from being bored, I thought, let me do something. Let me do something different. And from that something different is when I created what I have created now, but using the same clients that I have from the insurance space. I picked, knowing that these are mining, these are logistics, these are manufacturers, these are agriculture. I created other businesses from my actual clients from insurance.
Fantastic. So the journey started in insurance.
The journey started in insurance.
Fantastic.
And the problem was solved because the problem that I have now is getting bored.
Would you say that's actually a mark of a great entrepreneur, somebody that builds something, brings it to maturity, and then starts looking for an additional or an extra challenge, a different challenge?
Yes. I wouldn't say entrepreneur, but I would say venture capitalist. Entrepreneurs can actually sometimes just stick to one business, but I get bored in one space for the longest time. So it always just feels like I was born to build nations and born to build businesses. I'll put it that way.
Starting from insurance, you went on to build so many different businesses. Most people will just build one business. You happen to build ecosystems. And I'll say ecosystems because it looks like, you start somewhere and then that business begins to spawn other businesses and they are related in a sense.
Yeah.
So you build an existing customer base. From there, augment services provided to that customer base. Additional customers come in. They then create a market for another opportunity, another business. So it looks like you're literally an ecosystem builder, and you've literally connected so many different businesses. Now, I just want to hone into the logistics space a little bit here. You built an insurance business, you built a transport business, you built a security business, you built a logistics infrastructure. When you look at Africa, what do you say, or what would you say is the most misunderstood thing about logistics in the African context?
The problem we have in Africa, and mostly people misunderstand logistics. When you talk about logistics in general, you know, they think you're talking about transportation. You say, I know, for example, I say to someone once that, you know, you could actually start a logistics business. And he answered me, and if you don't mind if I can say it in Nyanja, he answered, he responded to me by saying, I'm track. You know, but you know, you need to realize that logistics is logistics in terms is different phases of warehousing, transportation, clearing, customs and clearing. That is, customs clearing, quite a lot of other stuff that is there. There's handling, supply chain. The trade also falls into logistics. You've got metal trading as well, which falls into logistics. Quite a lot of these things fall into logistics, actually.
I learned recently about post-harvest, losses in the agri space.
Yes.
And largely that's also driven because of logistical failures within the value chain.
So one of the things actually that I actually really want to promote within the logistics, but it starts from, for Africa, it starts from trading. If Africa, trading in agriculture products, the key thing about Africa is that we've got the land, we can do big in terms of agriculture. So if we can focus more on agriculture, grow crops, grow even animal farming, livestock, all these things, start building on these sort of projects, you would find that we would actually even create more logistics work, because then we have to export these things to Congo, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe currently buys a lot from Zambia in terms of beans, Mbala. Bill Mbala does a lot of beans, as you know. I think we do, is it Nakonde? Zambia Nakonde, they do soya beans and all these things. So all these farming products, you know, if we could have most Zambians going to farming, going to grow crops, to grow different types of food, you'd be surprised that that logistics chain would grow big time. Even the transport that they don't want to do, they would create businesses in that sense as well.
Absolutely, because you know, when you look at even what the Food Reserve Agency does, at some point they've got fleet, but they've also gone on and subcontracted transporters to aggregate, stock that is coming out of the rural areas. But there's still a lot of waste. We have the government pushing for that 10-1-1 agenda, and once we do, I think we can get to the 10 million metric tons of maize very easily.
Yes.
But we need to enable the logistics.
Yes. And then imagine adding on is it the 3 million or 3 billion tons? What, 3 million?
3 million metric
tons of copper. Yeah. So we are talking big numbers.
So,
and creation of jobs as well.
Yeah.
Within the same sector.
So what I get here is that the misconception or the misunderstanding really sits in the definition of logistics itself.
Yes.
And just how broad-based or far-reaching it is.
There are two things. And this is the reason why I played in these two industries.
Yeah.
Insurance, you must remember, everybody, whatever you do, you need insurance. Could be medical, could be for your assets, could be anything, okay?
Yeah.
2, logistics. People need to eat. Things need to move. Food will not move by itself. You need that part of it. You need to, for things to happen, you need logistics, in short.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Things will not happen without logistics. So this is the reason why I decided insurance, logistics, warehousing.
Mm.
Warehousing, you need a place where you can store commodity.
Are you playing in the warehousing space?
Soon.
I've
Soon.
seen a lot coming up.
Yes. And
Quite a
I
lot.
think you've seen the advertising that we've done in terms
Yes.
of warehousing, yes. Right now, we're subcontracting.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're subcontracting right now.
No, brilliant. I mean, then that also means you're creating opportunity for other
Yes.
property businesses to then lease those properties to you. I know we were having this conversation earlier before we started recording. You talked about the work that you're doing in Kazungula and in Francistown. Just tell me a little bit about what exactly it is you're building there.
So that's more of a greenfield.
Mhm.
It's a prospect, but we've already started. We've got the funding in place. Yeah. So just sort of concluding, we started with Seneca truck facility 4 years ago. It was a bit difficult because the Swanas and the very difficult people. You can't do anything in Botswana without Swanas being involved.
So this is more like an empowerment
Yes.
program. Okay.
So we had to get, to get Seneca operating. We managed to get the piece of land through so the local shareholder has got a piece of land. And now we're going to start building the truck facility, logistics hub, we call it. But we'll have also our security guys for copper coming to stay there, and it will be an exchange point for these guys, the copper guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When somebody hears the term logistics hub, the first thing that comes to mind is truck yard. But this is definitely a lot more than that. You've talked about security,
Yeah, there'll also be some warehouses there.
warehousing,
Yeah.
any other amenities. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like this is like
No, this is a proper sort of like a warehousing solution thing where we have bonded warehouse at the border. Clients can leave stuff in bond, those kind of things, and the clients can pick up from the border. For example, at Kusubalesa, there's a place they call no man's land. Trucks stop there and then they offload. No, we're doing a proper operation in terms of, they pay, they come in there, offload, offload the goods there. The truck turns around and goes. In Kasubalesa, no man's land, the truck waits there until the truck is off, until they sell whatever they're selling on the truck, or until someone comes to collect the goods from the truck.
So these are projects that have already broken ground, both Kazungula and Francistown.
Francistown and both Kazungula and Francistown. We have actually just, like Kazungula, we just did clearing last year of the land. It's an 8 hectare plot. It's been cleared. We're going to start we were busy with the title deeds and all these things. Finally, we got them. It's an SPV. It's an SPV project, same as the Botswana one. The Botswana one, we had an issue because the first transaction we were dealing with Botswana changed governments. We were dealing with the first the last government.
Yes.
But the current government came in and we needed approvals, but it was done. It was approved. Yeah.
Okay, so the opportunity there is actually a fantastic one, and for a guy sitting in a chair running a logistics company, at the barest minimum, a trucking company. So the solution that the logistics hubs provide for businesses that are busy running trucks is basically, as an owner, I'm able to plan my trips. I know that when my truck gets to the border, it will offload. There's a safe storage facility somewhere there where the goods can be stored, and the truck turns around. So that provides me a level of predictability.
Yes, but those facilities are for. It all depends on the transaction that you have with your client. So, for example, some transporters don't want to won't want to come all the way to Zambia. So they'll tell the client, you can pick up, we can only drive to the South African border, Botswana side, offload, the truck comes back, you have to find another. Or if I say I would send a truck to collect from Botswana, you know. So in those arrangements, that's when, now that's what we call transshipping. You move commodity from one truck to the next truck. And then there's obviously, because you're in an international territory, so you need those transits. You can't just move. That's how the transit one comes in. Yeah.
I mean, it nonetheless, it still is a fantastic, business opportunity. How did you decide on going into the logistics hub space?
Like I said, logistics for me has always been something that I've seen from childhood. I've seen what people have done, and you must remember, before insurance, I worked at Oxfam and UNHCR, and my job there was I was a logistics officer.
That part I didn't know.
Yes, I was the one that was in charge of feeding the refugees in Western Province, Shabong, Nagweshi, for Angola, the Angolan refugees.
Yes.
Yes. So I did that was my program under Oxfam. I did that whole repatriation program for the refugees to go back to Angola after the war, civil war.
Fantastic.
Angola, yeah.
Fantastic.
And I was in charge of the logistics with the Oxfam and UNHCR. So when those contracts finished, and that's how I moved to being an agent for insurance.
Interesting. Now you're setting up in Kazungula. You're also setting up in Francistown. I think those would be very fantastic, facilitation facilities. We're hearing a lot now about the Lobito corridor, regional rail investments. There's a lot of new trade infrastructure being built in, across Southern Africa. Do you think, as a land-linked country, Zambia, do you think we're finally stepping into our role as a logistics hub for the region, or maybe we're still looking at it too narrowly?
Zambia was the logistics hub of SADC and all this. Everything used to go through Zambia Railways. Remember when I was growing up, Zambia Railways, you'd see the train with huge cargo. Dar es Salaam, the trains from Dar all used to come through, most of the cargo used to come through rail to Kapiri. But this is why Kapiri was a bonded facility in the old days.
Yeah.
And all I can say is we probably just need to sort of, it's just that now, and then it was all public sector sort of driven, because, they had their own sort of setups. But now, if it can be allowed that the private sector takes over these huge facilities, Kapiri's got some good facilities, and those facilities are central for our trade with Tanzania, and for most of the copper that used to come out of Congo to go to South Africa, to go to wherever. We used to have trains, South African Railways, and there used to be that Congolese rail. Imagine how much copper used to move between. I think when I started insurance, which was one of my first risks that I broke, that time I was a director, I was an underwriter. We covered for Group Bazano at the time. Those guys were doing, I think, 10,000 tons every quarter. Yes. Of copper ore. And railed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole legacy here of positioning, let's call it that I think has over the years been neglected and forgotten, and it stayed as a memory. but the opportunity still exists to resuscitate, to
Yes,
reside,
yes.
to repurpose, even in some cases. What would you say, if you were in a position to advise government, what would you say is the number one thing that needs to happen in the next 5 years for us to position ourselves?
Rail infrastructure and
Mm.
logistics. We need to get the rail infrastructure in place.
Mhm.
You know, I know we've rushed to doing the road networks and stuff, which is good. It has opened a lot of those, and I know right now they are pushing to do a lot of the roads in the country,
Mhm.
and all access roads
Yep.
for logistics, if anything. One of the companies I'm involved in, I'm actually Zambian shareholder, Zambian director, Bitumen Road, is one of the contractors on the new
The Western Corridor.
Western Corridor, yes, Western Corridor Road. And yes, well and good, we're doing roads, but we need to also invest in the rail. The rail system is the biggest and the most easiest way of moving cargo. But I know that will bring fights now because now what we've noticed, even within the logistics space, there's what we call mafia. The road,
They seem to be everywhere.
yeah. These guys will not be happy that the rail system is working and is being sufficient. For them, it must be insufficient, so that they can make money. Because when it's sufficient, to take over the business. This is why I feel, what do you call this project?
The Zambia Rail is
No. The Angola project.
Lobito Corridor.
Lobito Corridor. Lobito is a very good project. Very, very good project. And that's why you see for them, it's easier. Imagine how much copper they'll move for 3 countries. You must remember it's 3 countries. Yeah. So that's A+, good project. But let's do the same for Zambia, Congo, right through Zambia to South Africa,
Yeah.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I mean, we could stretch into Zimbabwe,
Yes, stretch into
and
Zimbabwe,
through
yes.
Zimbabwe into
Yes.
South Africa. You can sort of stretch into Tanzania.
Yes.
There's the Angola corridor as well.
But I
that
think
is-
the Tanzania and the Chinese have they done?
There
I
is
think
an agreement in place there. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
No, that's fantastic. There's conflicting, requirements there. Of course, I think that there's opportunity for both sides, road and rail, depending on the times that you have, depending on urgency of consignments, etc. I know that you're also playing in the small parcel space. That's obviously an opportunity for road as well. Just very briefly, if you're able to touch on to what you're doing in that space. I know you've got some work going on in Zimbabwe, South Africa into Zimbabwe as well.
Yes, it's fuel transportation. Yes, part of an investment called Southern Logics. Southern Logics, we are fuel transporters. In Zambia, with Southern Logics, but trading as MK Petroleum. So we've got a fleet of trucks, 100 plus. We mainly do Trafigura fuel into FQM from Beira, Beira for Benko into Congo, Kamoto and Kamoa. And basically that's what we do on Southern Logics.
You've mentioned quite a number of businesses here, and they're, again, quite related.
They're all related,
You're
yes.
putting in the infrastructure to drive the logistics. You're putting in the energy that pushes and keeps the vehicles moving. You're providing cover for the goods that are in transit. You're providing security for the goods that are in transit. There's a lot that's going on there. And I must say, it's a fantastic ecosystem. But I can't avoid thinking of just how difficult it is to find the right people to work in the different roles, because you're not going to be able to run those businesses yourself. You still need to have time to play golf, time to pick up the kids from school, etc. So what would you say, is your top 2 indicators of what a good hire looks like?
Firstly, like I've always said in my past interviews, human capital is always key. I must say within the Mudenda capital circle, we've got quite a few female CEOs.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the insurance, we have Mrs. Mudenda, who's the CEO. For RTT South Africa, we have Tato Mkwena, CEO. Botswana, we have a lady CEO for Seneca. Yeah, interesting. Never really looked at it in that sense. Southern Logics, there we've got quite a bit of females as well in operations, but our CEO is Alex Smith, sits in Harare. The general manager, there's a gentleman called O'Brien, who sits in Lusaka. Seneca is Derek. Derek sits in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. But the names that you've mentioned, and I've had the privilege to interact with a number of them.
Yes.
The one thing that stands out is just drive, versatility, and being driven to still achieve results in a plethora of environments and businesses. I would take that that's probably one of the things you look for. How driven is the individual?
Yes.
And how versatile the individual is. Have you had situations where you've been able to move a person from the one business into another business?
No, we've never had that situation. No.
So there's a level of expertise that you develop and you retain within those businesses.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So within this space, this is quite interesting. I would call myself chairman, but then
I should start calling you that.
No, but then to be honest, I realized that it doesn't match my look. It doesn't match anything. So
You think so?
no, I've actually changed my whole outlook, everything. I prefer now to be called Chief Strategy Officer.
I can work with that. That sounds much more strategic.
Yeah.
Operationally strategic and strategically strategic.
Yes.
On the flip side, really, what would be the one red flag that will tell you, I'm not touching this person, I'm not hiring this person, no matter how impressive their curriculum vitae is?
Now, for me, that is spiritual. Usually, I believe in my prayers. I pray to God, and thank God, He's always answered me with the right people. I've never had a time where God answers me and says, "No, this one," But most of the time, I have prayed, and in my prayer, I ask God, "You will show me whether this is." So there are times when you do the interview, and then you see things just happen. Then you know there's something wrong here.
When the math is not
Yes,
mathing.
yes. Then you know. We talk. Christ talks about.
Yeah.
When we communicate, pray, communicate.
So it's very clear to me that you need people that are centered, you need people that are dynamic, and because you're dealing with a lot of value-driven sort of businesses here, you have to find the right people and put them in the right places. In conclusion, Maybin, a lot of people talk about trucks, they talk about border posts, but there's a bigger picture of African trade here. And Zambia, I think, is getting one leg up into the space, but there's still quite a lot of work that needs to be done. What would be your top priority in terms of specific areas that we can focus on as a nation, as a region? What are those that might stand out for you in terms of developing African trade further?
Like I said, the rail network, one of them.
Yeah.
People paying attention to farming as well, going back to farming. And I think, like I said, that's That's actually Africa's key.
Mm.
I mean, we export, Europe imports everything from Africa in terms of stuff.
Mm.
So for me, the government really needs, as much as I'm happy that they've started with the education part of it. They've made free education.
Mm.
Now, let's start looking at, Kaunda used to go back to the land, if you remember. In those
Yes, I
days.
do. I do.
So let's start looking at land issues as well.
Mm.
People doing agriculture, people paying attention to agriculture, food trade.
Mm.
There's a lot of money in food trade. It's not the white collar that gives you money all the time.
Mm.
No, the food trade is key. Everybody eats.
Absolutely.
Everybody eats.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very clear that we need to be looking
The
internally at
same way you use your cell phones, you can't do without water or eating something.
Mm. We definitely need to look internally because the opportunities exist in Zambia. We were talking earlier on, you mentioned that post the mining in Davat, you haven't really done a lot of travel this time because business is coming to you in Zambia. There's great opportunity here and everyone else is seeing it. In closing, what would you say to a person sitting out there? Maybe they've got one small little truck and they're looking to grow in the logistics business. What sort of spaces, subsectors within the entire ecosystem should they be focusing on? What would be the strategy? Then go into the market strategy.
If you've got one small truck, one small truck now is a lot of work. You can move smaller goods from one place to the next. We started with RTT, we started with smaller trucks, which were 1 ton to 14 ton, which were moving between Johannesburg and Lusaka. We had 3 of them. Now we're sitting at almost 10. Okay, our friends on the other side are privileged to have the banks support them in a different way, but here, that's a discussion for another topic, for another time. Sorry, but here it's difficult. Yeah, the loans are the finances are very expensive.
I think it's very clear that the banks also need to come on board.
The banks need to come on board, give good interest rates. Also, we also need to be open to give our own people business. That's another thing that people cry about. Business is usually given only to certain nationals. Zambians are always have to beg to get stuff. Yeah. So I'm actually kind of happy that the government has started this Zambian empowerment.
The local content legislature that was written out. Yes.
It's very important. I mean, we travel in these countries. You can't do anything else. In these other countries, you can't do anything without a local. And it's clear. They even tell you can't. Botswana, I just gave you an example. Botswana.
That was a very good example of it. Yeah.
Botswana, you can't. Zimbabwe is even worse. Those guys, even before you get to the authorities, they've already they close you themselves.
Yeah. No, I think that there has to be a level of local empowerment and a level of enablement as well. We can be exposed to the way things are done in other markets, bring that intelligence here, execute. And that's really why platforms like Logistics Now is there. It's really to create that ecosystem of information flow, create opportunity for businesses to share their story, but also have a collective of information that can be used by executives playing in this space and otherwise to be able to make decisions that will move their businesses forward.
Yes.
So Maybin, thank you very much for taking the time. I know that you've got a busy day today, but thank you so much for speaking to me and taking time to be on this inaugural episode of Logistics Now. We greatly appreciate it. And for all our listeners, if you have found today's conversation valuable, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Share this conversation with the amazing Maybin Mudenda in your networks, and then let's join together and continue exploring the people, the investments, and the ideas that are shaping the future of trade across Africa. Until next time, keep business moving forward.